Alright. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Journey to Be an Astronaut podcast, where we discuss anything and everything astronaut. Today we'll be discussing everyone's favorite topic, flying. Have you dreamed about being a test pilot, flying X-class planes, shooting through the sky in a supersonic T-38? Then this episode is for you. Get started off, we got a lot of material to cover today. Alright, so there's a few places you can go to become qualified as a test pilot. Firstly, you can do it as a civilian at the National Test Pilot School, or you could do it through the military, which is through the 4 branches. This is U.S. You can do it through Air Force, Navy, Army, and I think Coast Guard as well. So the places these are all located at are Edwards Air Force Base, which is the 412th Test Wing. And then you have the NAV, which they train domestic and foreign pilots and test pilots as a test pilot. And then you have the Army School. Let's see. You get to test pilot school by having a bachelor's degree, because test pilot school is technically grad school. Because you're going to be doing you're pretty much a engineer and a pilot at the same time. So, and then some types of planes that you might be flying is you have a couple of planes, which is the MiG-21 the L-39 Albatross, an EC-145, the T-38, and the Cessna. And then there's also a few helicopters you can fly around as well, the OH-58C and the Bell UH-1N. Alright, and then add on to what I just covered, foreign flyers, which is non-US citizens, I believe, can go through the military branch as well. And to continue, there's a couple of things that I'm pulling up on the Air Force website here. Alright. So there are some admission requirements as well. I'm just going to read off a little bit, and then I'll try to cover some more things. International applicants should discuss requirements with their military and embassy. A summary of minimum requirements is shown below. Some physical science degrees may be acceptable with additional coursework. Alright. So there's a whole bunch of different courses here. You've got the experimental test pilot, the experimental RPA pilot, which is flying the drones around. You have the experimental combat systems officer, that includes the navigator, by the way, and then you have the experimental flight test engineer. To be able to be admitted, you will need less than, well, let's see, at time of entry, your time of service would need to be less than or equal to 9 years and 6 months. And for helicopters, it would be 10 years and 3 months. This was for the experimental test pilot. You also need a bachelor's in engineering, math, or physics with a GPA over 3. You need a good amount of experience as well. 12 months in MWS and 750 hours or IP 1000 hours if dual IP. And then something to note, 250 hours of manned non-MWS time may be included. And then just a qualification you need, annual flying class 2. And that goes for the experimental test pilot, the RPA pilot, and the combat systems officer and navigators. You need a annual flying class 3 if you want to be a flight test engineer. For the RPA pilot, you need less than or equal to 9 years and 6 months with the same degree. And then you will need IP and RPA MWS or at least 750 hours. For the combat systems officer and navigator, some experience you need to be IP in CISO MWS or at least 500 hours in MWS, excluding student time. And then the flight test engineer, they have less than or equal to 8 years where you have active you can be active, guard, and reserve. You need the same bachelor's, but a technical master's degree is also highly desired. And it looks like, and they want greater than or equal to 2 years of experience in a bunch of AFSCs, which are just certain jobs that you can participate in. And then, yeah, you need your annual flying class 3. Right, before you're eligible to go to flight school, you have to be qualified already in the altitude chamber training, which will not expire prior to your graduation. And as well as there's a list of required training prior to the start of test pilot school to meet the requirements. Also they're gonna need centrifuge training that will not expire while you're there. And what you will receive once you complete your training, a Master of Science degree in Flight Test Engineering from Air University. And this is from the Air Force website. Yeah. So I'm not going to go through all 4 websites, because there's just a lot of information there that it would just take too long to get through. But yep. So you have your 4 branches as well as a civilian going through the National Test Pilot School. Okay. I'll throw all of the websites below in the description for your convenience, so you can go ahead and check those out. But yeah, we're going to continue to the NASTAR Center, which is the altitude chamber. It's FAA approved, all that stuff. So what they're trying to get out of this is aid in identifying, your mental responses in low oxygen, and it'll build up your ability to function in less atmosphere. And it's also a safe way to medically monitor everybody. Some things they're going to be trying to apply: rapid decompression, claustrophobia, discomfort tests, low oxygen emergency procedure, life support equipment testing, altitude acclimation, hypoxia, pressure breathing, mechanical gas expansion, hyperventilating, and then, oxygen equipment use. So it's pretty cool. They've got 100,000 feet is the max altitude. The max ascent rate is 12,000 feet a minute, which is crazy fast. They've got an automated flight control system, an interactive flight profile, and a CCTV video capture. And I can leave this down below as well. And then we have centrifuge training. And then centrifuge training, which is the big spinny thing that tests the amount of G's when they put on you and all that stuff. Okay. This has been Journey to Be an Astronaut podcast. I'll throw all of my references down in the description, everything I used. Have an amazing day, Stargazers, and stay safe.